Going to try to introduce our elected officials and also some of our candidates. If I miss anyone at the end, I will absolutely ask you to raise your hand, and I do want to introduce you. Some people might want to know, so why is it important for us to know our political leaders, especially in causes like Alzheimer's? And the reason is that our elected officials represent us. They're our eyes, ears, our voice in the community, in the state, and in the nation. And they want to do the best they can to advocate for their constituents. And that's all of us. And so they need to know the issues that face us, and especially with Alzheimer's, there is no cure. And we'll have Mary Buckman come up and speak about that here shortly. But I'd like to start at this side of the room and introduce some of our elected officials. So I'm going to introduce Scott Weber, our county clerk. And we have Brandon Vick, state representative for their 18th. Mark Bolt, our county commissioner. Linda Wilson, state senator for the 17th. Ann Rivers, our state senator for the 18th. And I know I'm missing some people. We also have some candidates for election. We have Steve Cox for Vancouver Mayor. Art LaFay over here standing up. And I know I'm missing someone, so if I missed you and you're either an elected official or running for office, please raise your hand. All right, I think I got everyone. At this time, I'd like to invite Rich Rogers, the chairman of the Democratic Party for Clark County, up to the mic, and also David Galatly, chairman of the Republican Party here in Clark County. So these two fine gentlemen, this is not the first event that we've done together as a bipartisan group. We also had a softball game back in June, and you know, they respect each other, even though they may not agree politically. That's okay. You know, we have a great community, and we come together to work on important things like this. So I'd like to actually ask Rich to speak first.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Stacey, for organizing this event, and the great people that put all the hard work and the hours into this. I think for any of us who've had Alzheimer's in our family, know that's not just the victim, it's the family. And this morning I was watching the news about what's going on in Texas, and we saw a family being rescued from an apartment building. And the comments afterwards kind of apply here today as well. They were very proud of Houston because they were pulling together regardless of political persuasion, regardless of race, regardless of religion. And that's what this is all about here today. There are certain times, I know David agrees, that we put people above politics. And this is definitely one of those causes and one of those times. And I want to thank everybody out here for coming out here and showing their support. And I look forward to the future when we do have a cure and we don't have to have these breakfasts anymore, but we just get together and have a good time as friends. Thank you very much.
First off, I'd like to thank Stacey for bringing everybody together today. Great job. It's great to be here with everybody again. And my great friend, Rich Rogers. Always good to do events where we can agree on things together. As a Republican or a Democrat, I think we're both in the pursuit of life and liberty and pursuit of happiness. And Alzheimer's takes that away from everybody. So I'm happy to be a part of the people here today that are coming together, united to fight this cause. And I hope everybody in here is willing to give a little and work together. And together we can find a cure and hopefully find a brighter future for all those affected by this.
We just had another elected official join us, Annette Cleveland. Can you stand by? So at this time, I'm actually going to invite our keynote speaker, Mary Buckland, up to come and tell us about her experience with Alzheimer's. Mary is a nurse practitioner and a well-respected provider in the community. She is You know, I'm not sure if they still grant sainthood, but if they did, this woman would deserve it. She has her own nonprofit business called Mobile Healthcare Providers Northwest. She goes and does in-home visits, treats patients with Alzheimer's and dementia, as well as patients in nursing homes, assisted livings, adult family homes. She also is a palliative care provider at Legacy Salmon Creek. So our community is blessed to have Mary, and I want everyone to join me in thanking her for coming.
Good morning. My journey started many years ago. I'm born and raised in Missouri, and my great-grandmother had Alzheimer's disease. And in southern Missouri, it wasn't called Alzheimer's, it was called, I reckon they got the old-timers disease. And so that's where my exposure to Alzheimer's disease started. I had no idea that my course in my life would take me to this point where I'm taking care of people throughout the disease, from the beginning diagnosis until the day that they depart this earth and they die. I'm very passionate about it because we know that it is the #1 type of dementia that people get. It's the one that affects most people, 60 to 80%, although a lot of folks will have different types of dementia mixed in there. And it can have a tremendous impact on not only the individual with the disease, but on the family, the caregivers, the people that are surrounding this person. I use the example of many times I'll be visiting a private home, and the caregiver looks more exhausted and sick than the person that they're caring for. The other thing that we really have to factor in is the financial impact that it can have on families. 24-hour care of somebody with dementia is horrifically expensive. So I'm very passionate about we've got to find a cure. We've got to find a way to stop this horrible disease. And we have a lot of research going on right now. There is no cure for it right now. But we are honing in on different research and different studies that tell us that there are certain situations that may preclude us to having the disease or being at risk of getting the disease. I tell people the older you get, don't get old. So it's too late for me. So save yourselves. Don't get old. Get old. That's one of the big risk factors. Pick your parents very wisely. If you pick your parents really well and get the genetic piece out of there, then that will reduce your risk. Diet and exercise, we all know that. But if you want to have the cheeseburger, have the cheeseburger. There are studies out right now where they're actually suspecting that there may be a dietary component that is contributing to some of the inflammatory processes that go on in the brain, to some of the demyelination of the nerves in the brain. And so there is research on that. There's another research study that I just read that they actually think that maybe they can identify early symptoms of Alzheimer's by examining people's retinas. They think that maybe some of that plaque buildup that's in our brain that causes the brain not to work and send the messages across, maybe there's something to that. Long story short, though, there is no cure for it. There is no cure. So identifying the disease very early, and also the other thing that I am so very passionate about is having discussions with your loved ones about, so you have this disease. What is important to you? How can we help support you? Talking to your healthcare providers about, mom has this disease. These are the signs, these are the symptoms, and having a community of medical professionals help guide along with you with trying to manage this disease in the person that's affecting your loved one. The average person, from the time symptoms develop till the time of their death, is about 8 to 10 years. And it can be a very long and arduous journey for the person as well as the family members. with this disease, the other big piece of this is making sure that you have your affairs in order, making sure you have a living will, a living trust, a power of attorney, a pulse to form, because this disease, we know as it progresses, it takes your voice away. It takes your ability to speak for yourself and advocate for yourself. So if you have things written down, what you would or would not want, you are giving such a tremendous gift to those loved ones that are having to speak for you when you no longer can. And that's a very hard conversation to have. But we do know that the ultimate end of this disease is death. It is, I tell people, this is a terminal disease. It takes a long time to get there, but the ultimate outcome is we die from it. So go to state of Washington, I always say Google it, but download power of attorney forms. Look at the post forms. When you go in and when you go in and see your medical providers, or you go with mom or dad or aunt, uncle, whoever that person is, sit down with your provider and get that information filled out so that you make sure that your wishes about your health care are being met and being honored. Because it's very hard on this side of it if we're coming into a situation to try to offer a family support if they do not know what that person's wishes were. It makes it very, very difficult for us to advocate for the person, not only for the person that's trying to work with the medical team, but the medical team themselves. So, I keep praying for a cure. I kept saying I hoped that we would find a cure before I retired. I don't know that that's going to happen, but that's what we are. Any questions? There are genes that they have found that can contribute to the early onset of Alzheimer's, and that's the folks that get it before the age of 65. And they've identified those genes. It's kind of a rock between hard places. Some people know that they're genetically predisposed to it, but do they really want to know what their path is going to be? But they have identified those genes that they think they're a part of the early onset of the disease. It depends on if they're autosomal dominant or recessive. It depends on, did mom contribute, did dad contribute. So once again, if you get, some people can be a carrier and not actually have the disease, but it depends on how they're genetically put together. Yes, sir.
Do you have support groups in place for the people that have Alzheimer's, their spouses, and their children?
Excellent question. Yes, Alzheimers.org, the website. You go into the website and you can just click a link that says support groups, and it can be support groups for patients suffering from the disease, to family members, to caregivers, and when I say caregivers, not only family member caregivers, but people that are working day to day providing care. They establish relationships with these people and they watch them decline from the disease, and it can rip your heart out to watch this happen to somebody. And any of the memory care units that are here locally in Vancouver, they have support groups for the patients and their family members. And that's another thing. Surround yourself with a community of people that are going through the same thing, because that gives you power to help at least feel supported and have people that are going through the same experience as you are. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy your breakfast.
I'm going to turn the mic over to Amy, although she doesn't need it.
I do have the loudest voice. So again, thank you. I've had a lot of times where people have asked, like, why do I care so much about Alzheimer's? Did I have a family member? Did I have someone? And I do not have a family member. But how I came to be the most affected by Alzheimer's, and some of you may have heard me tell this story before, is I had a resident named Walter. I used to manage an Alzheimer's unit. And Walter and his wife, Lucy, lived in my assisted living with me. He was very active. He still skied. He was an incredibly active, smart, wise gentleman. And then when his disease with Alzheimer's progressed, he ended up moving to our memory care unit. So his wife still lived in assisted living, and she would visit, and then Walter lived in memory care. So every day I'd be visiting someone, and he'd say, "Have you seen my wife today?" And I was like, "I haven't seen Lucy today." I was like, "But I know she usually visits you in the afternoon." And then 10 seconds later, "Have you seen my wife today?" I was like, "I haven't seen Lucy today, but she usually visits you in the afternoon." And then I would have lunch or with residents, and he's like, "Have you seen my wife today?" And I was like, "I haven't seen your wife today, but I know that she usually visits you in the afternoon. She'll be here later." And it kind of continued on for really months, on that. At one point, Lucy passed away. And we actually wondered, how do we tell him? Do we tell him? And the family felt that on some level, he would know. So when Walter asked me, "Have you seen my wife today?" I said, "Well, Walter, let's sit down." And I was like, "I'm really sad to tell you that Lucy has passed away." And he grieved, and he was depressed, and he was sad. And then about 10 minutes later, he would ask me, "Have you seen my wife today?" I said, "Walter, let's sit down." And I was like, "Lucy, I'm really sad to say, has passed away. Very peacefully, but she has passed away." And he would be as sad as I told him the first time. And it went for about 2 weeks. And I began to wonder, I'm like, I think this is going to break me. And we kind of wondered, were we making the right decision? And then about 2 weeks into it, he said, "Have you seen my wife today?" And I said, "Walter, let's sit down." And he goes, "Wait, this isn't good, is it?" And he's like, "She's not with us anymore, is she?" And I said, "No, sir, he's not. She's not." But on some level, he did know. But telling that gentleman every day that the love of his life, every day, 10 times a day, for weeks, changed me. So that is how I became more involved with the Alzheimer's Association. First in Denver, then in Nashville, and then here. So most recently, some of you who know me from the industry for Retirement Connection know that Krista, who's on my team, is currently fighting cancer and has her own battle going on. We asked her, "How can we help you? What do you want? Do you want us to walk? Do you want us to do this?" She's like, "My color's purple." And she's like, "Not that the other ones don't matter. They absolutely do." She's like, "But I wear purple. I raise money for purple." So I'm asking you to figure out, what can you do to be that advocate so that we do have a world without Alzheimer's, so that we're not having to tell Walter his wife passed away 10 times, that we all get to wear purple, that we all get to find this cure today. So I want you to, on your tables, there's a place for you to make a donation. That I also think is important is what we spend on research. For every $100 that we spend on research, 16 times that. 16 times or 160 times? 16 times is spent on the cost. So this disease will bankrupt America. So when you look at this money that is spent just on Medicaid and Medicare that is spent, if we do not find a cure for this, we will not be able to, it's not sustainable. It's just simply not. Aside from the emotional, if you were not affected by the fact that, hearing about Walter, hearing about people's loved ones, just simply looking from a fiscal responsibility, we have a responsibility to see if we can find a cure. There are so many good causes in this room. I look at Diana with the Elder Justice Center and SWEEP and everybody who has come together, because this disease, it is not just something that's for caregivers. It is literally across when you look at the financial impact, the emotional impact. So if you are done with your contributions, if you can hold them up, my staff will come pick them up, and we are going to do a door prize. So we will draw from all of those who did make a contribution, and we actually have a $50 gift card. So while I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Kaufman, and then we will pull a donation. We'll pull one of the names, and then that'll be it. So if any time, as she's talking, feel free to continue to hold up your envelope, and then Bailey and Kyle and I will come get those. You can keep writing. Maybe as you're listening to Sarah, you're going to want to add a 0. You can do that too. That's okay. So, there are 2 walks coming up, and you can find these on alz.org. So alz.org, you can find a walk near you. There's the Longview Walk or there's the Portland Walk. Those are the 2 closest. So it doesn't matter if you can be a virtual walker, you can simply donate to another team, or you can do it today. So thank you all so much for all of you being here, being passionate about this. The fact that we can fill a room like this in 2 weeks of the passionate people in Clark County is really, really a testament to who you are and for giving up your busy schedules to be here. So thank you so much. Please give yourselves a round of applause. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Kaufman. She is one of the public policy directors, and she is going to speak more about how the funding, what is used, and really more on a federal level, what's involved.
Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you all for taking time from your busy days. I know everyone has a lot going on, and to be here to support this cause, it's really inspiring to see such a full room of incredible people from diverse sides of the aisle that want to support this important cause. So thank you so much. My name is Sarah Kaufman. I'm the Public Policy Director of the Alzheimer's Association. And I have a presentation today, and unfortunately it looks like our clipper's not working so well, so I'm going to stand over your... Oh, if I turn it on, it looks better. Power. So I'd like to share with you all a little bit about the Alzheimer's Association, who we are and what we do. And please don't hesitate to ask questions or put comments in as I'm speaking. I'd love to hear anything from you in personal experience, questions, whatever you want. But the mission of the Alzheimer's Association is to eliminate the disease through the advancement of research, to provide and enhance care and support for all affected, and to reduce the risk of dementia through the promotion of brain health. And Mary spoke a little bit about that too, the healthy heart, healthy brain. That's kind of what that is a little bit about. We'll go more into this in a minute. Essentially, our vision of the world without Alzheimer's disease. And quickly, people use the words interchangeable, and Mary touched on this. Dementia is simply an umbrella term. It's not a specific disease, but it's an umbrella term. And it is associated with a range of symptoms with cognitive impairment. And as Mary said, Alzheimer's disease is the most common form. There's various other forms, vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, and numerous other ones as well. So just some quick facts and figures. I put up here, there's 173,000 Oregonians and Washingtonians. I kind of wanted to put the whole Pacific Northwest in there that are currently living with Alzheimer's disease. Nationwide, that's about 5 million Americans that are living with this disease. And we know in less than 10 years, we're going to see significant, between 30 and 40% increase. Our population is aging. And so we're going to see that number skyrocket unless we find a way to change this disease, a cure, or better treatments. As it stands now, about 1 in 3 seniors die with a form of dementia. And as Mary also addressed, you got to stop aging. That's the one way we know to stop Alzheimer's disease. Age 65 and older is the biggest risk factor. Family history and the healthy brain, healthy heart. Diseases of inflammation tend to have increased risk for Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And then head injury, traumatic brain injuries, so very common. Encourage that. That's one of the causes of Alzheimer's disease. There's more. We're learning more. These are some of the information that we do know right now. And the burden is incredibly large. As I mentioned earlier, this is increasing, but these are the numbers that we're looking at nationwide. So by 2050, again, unless we change the trajectory of this disease, there'll be about 16 million people living with this disease. We're working on changing that. And caregivers, this is a big topic that Mary addressed as well. And at the bottom here, you can see in Oregon and Washington, there's over 500,000 unpaid caregivers. And that's they provide 588 million hours of unpaid care. That should be Oregon and Washington. And that's a significant gift to the state of Oregon and Washington, $7.4 billion of unpaid care. And that's what caregivers are doing, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're caring for people living with this disease. And so I've been working for the Alzheimer's Association for about 1.5 years. My grandfather had Lewy body dementia, my mother was his caregiver. So this was a really personal cause for my family as well too. And I'm really honored that I get to do this personally and professionally. And what floored me the most when I started was Alzheimer's disease being sixth leading cause of death overall in our nation. But then that out of the top leading causes of death, it's the only one that we can't prevent, slow, or cure. The one disease. And so I was really floored by that statistic. I think we're working really hard to change that, and I'll talk a little bit about that in some of our public policy efforts in just a minute. But again, Amy mentioned this, most expensive disease in the nation. The high cost of Alzheimer's disease is going to continue to skyrocket as people age. And we can see by the time we hit 2050, we're going to be spending over $1 billion treating this disease, probably up into the trillions, maybe 1 trillion, that's a T, a trillion. So we got to work on changing that. So I'll stop with the doom and gloom for a minute. These statistics are hard to listen to. They are. It's a serious disease that needs serious attention. But there's hope. There's a lot of hope. And I feel really fortunate in the job that I get to do. We get to kind of push through that, hope forward in the realm of public policy. Scientists believe that we're at a tipping point. We have scientists, we have the methodology and technology, and most importantly, the will to overcome this disease. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our public policy efforts to do that. So, first of all, research. That's hope for so many people and so many families. And when we meet with people, when we meet with support groups, whatever it is, people want to know what's happening out there. What's happening in the community to change this disease? Is there hope? And there is. The Alzheimer's Association is part of that. We've funded over $350 million, and we continue to do that. Outside of the United States government and the Chinese government, the Alzheimer's Association is the largest leading funder of Alzheimer's disease research in the world. So we're devoted to that mission. And then we engage in public policy. And for the elected officials in the room, we know how important this is. You don't know what your constituents want unless they come to you and talk to you, unless they share what's important to them, what's important to their families. And so we do that in public policy. We reach the masses, we mobilize grassroots, and we empower them to speak up, and ask for change. So this is what she is. But essentially that's because a few people can make a big change. And we're those purple people doing that. So I say advocacy a lot. Advocacy is really just, it's telling your story, it's raising your voice, it's asking for change. And it's asking for change from the change makers. It's some of who are in the room today. And one of the great things about Alzheimer's, the cause of Alzheimer's, is not red or blue. This is a truly bipartisan issue. At the federal level, we have some very conservative members, we have some very liberal members who work together. I know it sounds strange, but they do. They work together to try to end this disease. Right here, Patty Murray was instrumental in funding for Alzheimer's disease research, and she worked with a senator from Missouri who's very conservative. They work together, they found common ground, and they continue to fund this disease. So we're going to feature, to those of you that know Amy. Amy is one of our great advocates here, and she travels with us to Washington, D.C. every year. There's a picture of her here, sharing her story and why she gets involved. And we talk with our policymakers at the federal level. Every state in the nation advocates for the same cause. We support research funding and specific legislation to make the lives of individuals living with disease better. I'm not going to listen to the specifics, but here's some pictures of all of our advocates. We go, we show up in purple, we storm Capitol Hill. There's 1,300 advocates from every state. This year, Ronald Reagan, Alzheimer's disease, one of our great advocates was the Alzheimer's Association sash on. And here's a great picture of our advocates meeting with elected officials and sharing their story. So some of the policy areas that we focus on at the Alzheimer's Association are our great commitment to enhancing Alzheimer's disease research at the National Institutes of Health. We also work on educating providers on palliative and hospice care. And those are the two main legislative asks that we focus on, and I'll go into details about that. This second one here, the Palliative Care Hospice Education Training Act. The acronym is PACHETA. It's a ridiculous acronym, but we use it. It's kind of a funny way to remember it. But it's a really interesting bill because a lot of groups have come together. We're not the Alzheimer's Association has joined us. There are voluntary health agencies like American Heart, American Cancer, Oncology Nurse Association, a variety of different organizations to advocate for this bill. It serves a wide variety. So as Amy mentioned, there's an imbalance. This is the most expensive disease in the nation to treat. Yet for every $100 we spend spend on Alzheimer's disease research, we're spending $16,000 in Medicare and Medicaid to treat this disease. So we're trying to change that balance to make sure that we're not going to use to focus on our Medicare and Medicaid budgets, but actually researching a way to change this disease. And the way we do that is we ask for increased research funding at the National Institutes of Health. And it's really exciting. Over the last 2 years, Alzheimer's disease has seen historic increases in research funding at the National Institutes of Health. And that is not an accident. That is public policy and advocacy at work. It's people coming together, raising their voice, and asking for change. So the reason we've done that, the reason we've seen these big increases, and 2 years ago we saw a $350 million increase. The following year we saw a $400 million increase. That puts us at about $1.4 billion a year in Alzheimer's disease research funding. And again, that was incredibly historic. But we used the past to teach us how to change things in the present. We saw that deaths from major diseases have decreased in a number of different disease modes. And that happened because the federal government really started to put a focus on research. They invested in finding a way to change this disease. Alzheimer's disease, that wasn't happening, so we continue to see the rate of mortality increase. Granted, we have a number of people aging as well too, but there wasn't a change. And we hope by taking the note from what HIV and AIDS did, what breast cancer and heart disease did, that we will start to see change in Alzheimer's disease as well. And in the last 2 years we saw that. We're on track this year to see another increase of $400 million, so we'll be closer to almost $2 billion. We're hoping that we're going to start to see those changes. And some of the research that Mary mentioned is an example of that. We're learning how to diagnose it earlier. We're learning about different treatments. So there's a lot of hope, and public policy is doing that. So the other main piece of legislation that every state in the nation advocates for their members is PACHITA, the Palliative Care Hospice Education and Training Act. It's a total mouthful, so it's easier to say PACHITA. But it establishes a palliative care workforce training programs so that all medical professionals can learn more about using palliative care and hospice care. And importantly, it would launch a national education awareness campaign to highlight the need, why it's important, how families can ask for it, and how it can serve the people that they love. And then again, it enhances research in palliative care, how that might help people with dementia, how that might help people with heart disease, and different forms of diseases. We're in Oregon and Washington, we're very lucky. We have members that support these bills. The PACHITA bill is very bipartisan. We have, I think the original co-sponsors were like. So there is another great example of how this is not a red or blue issue, but very much a purple issue. Bipartisan support. If anyone is interested in if you're local or if you're a representative, you're a U.S. representative or senator is a sponsor, please talk to me and I can give you a list of who the co-sponsors are. Because if they're not, they should be. We'll talk about that later. And then just a general thing overview of state policy. If you know one state legislature, you know one. That's it. They're all very different. So all states advocate differently. We have a national platform that at the state level, we all advocate for Alzheimer's disease state plans. We look for uniform adult guardianship legislation. We work to enhance dementia training standards at the state level. Washington and Oregon do tremendous work in that. We monitor, it's called workforce and behavioral risk factor surveillance. It's public health monitoring data. Every state buys for funds for that. And we work to preserve Medicaid. It's a lifeline for so many people when it comes to long-term care. Any questions? I'm fully fueled on coffee, so. All right. Well, walk, September 10th. Join us. And then again, if you're interested, we have so many resources online. If you or anyone that you know has questions, we have a 24/7 helpline that you can call anytime, any question. It could be the most difficult day of your life. It could just be you have a question. You want to find a support group. Please reach out to us. There's flyers at the table. There's flyers at the front. We have numerous opportunities to get involved. If you want to do it online, we have a caregiver center that's online that you can find resources locally in your community. And then there's that helpline number. There's our, you can do also at Oregon or Washington, whatever always like to end with this quote. I love this quote, but I think the world is changed by your example, not your opinion. You have to get out there and do something. And advocacy is part of that, speaking out and advocating for change. And that's always in the back.
Does anybody else have any more envelopes before we do the drawing for the $50 gift card? Going once? Here, I'm going to ask you, will you pick one here, Diana? Pick that envelope. I'm going to flip them over so she can't see who it is. And you just pick something. Pick one. Pick one. Okay. Deep memory. You have $50 and good karma. So when I went to Alzheimer's Forum, like the first year, there was one quote that I was really impressed with. Kyle, baby, made a mess. I was trying not to make you do that in that pencil skirt. One of the quotes that I was really most impressed with is, we all think that we live in a democracy. And it was a quote, I believe it was Thomas Jefferson, but it was that we do not live in a democracy of the people. We live in a democracy of the people who choose to participate. So I think by the fact that we're all here right now, we are participating. So all of our public officials that are here that's running for office, can you please stand one more time so that we can recognize all of you that are standing? Whether you already are in office or if you're running for office, really want to give them a round of applause because they are the ones that are giving us the voice, that are there and representing us. So with that, I'm going to say thank you and I'm going to turn it over to Stacy.
Actually, with that, I wanted to encourage everyone to pay attention to who your elected officials are in this room and go and meet them. They represent you, they're your voice in their respective offices, and I think at this point we're going to wrap it up. You can stay, we still have this room for another half an hour. Please mingle and meet people, and thank you so much for coming.